This is the first bonus lesson on Cantaloupe Island, and it's for pianists to play the groove that Herbie Hancock plays. So I'm going to show you now how to play the right hand. I'll just play the first bit for you so you can hear what I'm talking about. It's a brilliant riff. It's a pattern that if you can't play it the first time, I guarantee you, if you practice it, it will come. I'm going to deal with the right hand to begin with because it can look quite complicated, but actually if you start breaking it down, it's easy. So we're in the key of F minor, or F minor is our first chord. It's probably a more accurate description. The notes are A flat, C and an F. That's actually what we call an inversion. And if you're not sure about those terms, check out Jazz Snippets, where all of these are explained in very simple, bite-sized, little tiny lessons. So that's F minor. The next chord is like a B flat chord over it. That's B flat, D and an F. And then we play another chord, which is the top part of an F7 chord. And that's C, E flat and an F. Now obviously we've got F in the bass at the beginning, so you can really hear the harmony there. The bass goes from F, C, E flat, F. Sometimes if you don't want to play the F at the top, you can just do that. And that usually is doubled by a bass player, if you happen to play with a bass player. If not, you've got a lovely bass line there to accompany maybe somebody else in a duo situation. Left hand is not too difficult. If you do it in one hand position, you must have a bigger hand than me because I probably have some of the smallest fingers that you could possibly have to play the piano. Although my stretch is quite large, my fingers are very short. So I can kind of get around it by just kind of stretching my hand. And I'm mostly holding my hands over what I'd say is an F7 chord without the third. If I left out the top note, then that's much easier for my hand. And if you're not fully grown, that might be a solution. That's no problem at all. The right hand, a lot of people find this difficult to do this. It's a lot of moving of the hand. So I'm going to give you some ideas how to practice and some solutions on how to play it in a simpler way. So the right hand, if you get your little finger, and it's always good practice to play on the right on the tip. We don't want to be playing on this part of our hand or this part. We want to play as much as we can on the tip without having our whole hand like this, because no one plays like that. So it's just a sort of a compromise between playing on the tip but obviously having the hand where it's natural. That's the first thing I get people to do. So it's the rhythm. Next thing is I will put the thumb onto A flat. And I will tell people it goes from A flat to C. And you're only allowed to use your thumb. So it goes. If you had the top note, it will sound like this. The middle notes are C, D, and an E flat. It's very important that you use this finger, which is the index finger, and we call this number 2. So it goes 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. Now the reason we have to use specific fingers is because you won't manage it if you just play any old finger. Now trying to play that on the 5th finger on F, that's quite tricky. Listen. And you really need to bounce. And when I mean bounce, there needs to be some movement of the wrist. If you find yourself going like this, I mean, I'm already feeling quite achy just by doing that. So my hands are flat, don't want that, and you want a bit of bounce. Okay, if you've done that, then it's time to maybe put the thumb in. So you remember the thumb went? we tried it with the little finger. I'm going to leave out the little finger. I'm going to just concentrate on the thumb and those inner notes. So they would sound like this. And then you put the top note in. And then eventually speed it up. But all the time, a really relaxed wrist. But you obviously need power to hit the chord. So it's a matter of relaxing and so on. And not talking at the same time, which is always a bit of a problem. So that's how to play the right hand for the first section in Cantaloupe Island. And in the next lesson, I'm going to introduce you to the other sections.